Hey everybody, how's it going? John here. So today's video is actually one that comes as a result of a conversation I had yesterday, and it was actually a misunderstanding on my part that created this conversation. But even though that misunderstanding happened, and it was an opportunity for some growth on my part, I suppose. It still had some relevant points that I wanted to share in this video because even though what I thought was happening in that instance wasn't in fact happening, it does often happen. So basically, this is going to be a video about how just the mere mention of veganism is often perceived by non-vegans as being pushy, pushing an agenda, pushing your opinions on people. Again, this wasn't actually the case yesterday in this conversation where I just, had commented on somebody's post. It was a relevant comment to a relevant post. I saw their reply to that and I took kind of some defense I was a little bit defensive as a result, mainly because I'm so used to veganism just being such a touchy subject. Like, I can't even bring it up without everyone, you know, oh, fucking vegans always talking about it, or like that this isn't the time and the place to talk about it, pushing your agenda. It's like a cult, it's like a religion, blah blah blah. That kind of bullshit that we hear a lot. Even though you can talk about literally anything else and not get that kind of a response. So if the person who I was involved in that exchange with last night is watching this video, just know this is not any kind of retaliatory video towards you. This has nothing to do with you. It just, our conversation yesterday, did kind of make me think about this, and it is something that's relevant. So I'm just discussing it. But yeah, so it's amazing because you can pretty much bring up anything else. Like I said, like, if a person is talking about how they have maybe bettered themselves in any other way, grown as an individual, maybe they grew up in a somewhat bigoted household, and now they're no longer willfully contributing to the oppression of others. Whether it's more respectful towards women, or maybe growing up. I know a lot of people in this area, where I live is a very, very white rural area. Not many people of color here at all. So yeah, there's some blatantly racist people around here. And I know there's a lot of people who will make racist jokes, or say things that they think are funny. And it's not because they actually have anything against people of color or whatever. It's just they have it in their head that it's okay to make these kinds of remarks and make these kinds of statements, even though there's no actual conscious prejudice happening, right? So, yeah, I mean, the point is, people could say, hey, I've gone from being a complete Nazi to someone who cares and loves everybody and stands up for human rights and everybody's rights, or used to be a complete homophobe, and now I'm like an absolute advocate and ally for the community. Um, there's a million different examples, right? It could just be someone who's had a really bad temper and was basically just an asshole their whole life, and who now has a sense of calm and is able to comprehend and understand and control their emotional state. And so, just performs better and behaves better in society. But literally any of those things, you could bring them up and talk about them and use those as a way to exemplify how you've grown as a person, or whatever. And most people, I think, would respond with, wow, that's really good. Congratulations on becoming a better human being. Most people are going to have that kind of a response. It's going to be a positive response. But if for some reason you wake up one day, maybe you're 30 years old like I was, and you say, shit, like, I've seen some things here over the last little while. I've learned some things, and I'm going to extend that compassion to animals and go vegan and, be an advocate for their rights, their right to life and liberty. Well, then all of a sudden you start talking about that, and it's usually pretty taboo. You can't talk about that as freely as those other things, those other forms of compassion or growth or basic respect for life and other people. You just can't talk about veganism that same way because it's still such a, and I mean, and I still do, I don't care. This doesn't deter me, but it's just funny how different the reaction is between becoming a better person towards other humans or becoming a better person towards non-humans. So it's such a clear example of how speciesism really is so deeply ingrained in our psychology and in our everyday essence as humans. Like, it's insane. Our society is just so hell bent on people first. And when I say people, of course I'm using the term to which kind of excludes animals, non-human animals, because that's just how our society works. We don't even see non-humans as people or as personalities or as their own, conscious beings. It's just humans first and fuck the animals. And even, within people who do care about animals to a degree, they're not vegan, but they do still maybe care for animals, but think that they need to eat them or use them in some way to survive. And they haven't made that ethical connection yet. Even those people are still just like, oh, I can't believe you would push that here. I can't believe you would bring that up. Oh, God, fucking vegans. Why would you bring that up? Yeah, we get it. We know your diet, your personal opinion, your preference, blah, blah, blah. And they just don't see it, man. They just don't get the bigger picture. That it's not about me or them or any individual, human or non-human. It's about something relevant, about becoming a better person, thinking, growing, evolving, and just understanding that you can become better people, you can make better choices as you learn more information, as you get older, as you take those blinders off and you just kind of open up and accept that you don't know it all and do what you can do. But yeah, so anyway, it was just interesting. I'd be curious to see in the comments whether this is something that you guys run into as well. Do people tend to react like if you are an advocate for people of color, for the basically any other community that isn't like, okay, I'm a straight white guy, so the fact that I have a lot of gay or trans friends and I'm an ally to them, or being a white guy, the fact that I absolutely despise the systemic racism that happens in our society and how people of color are treated, those are things that people generally applaud. And if you also kind of advocate for those things and stand up for those types of situations, is that something that is generally received well for you? But as soon as you bring up veganism and extend that to animals, like, just kind of curious what the reaction difference is between different types of things when the non-humans are the victims, basically. But anyway, all right, I'll just end it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And yeah, just, random thoughts. Had to put it out there. And again, if the person is watching that I had this conversation with last night, this really has nothing to do with you. It's just that was an opportunity for both of us, I think, to maybe realize that it's very easy to misunderstand the context, misunderstand the intentions when you're communicating through text. So it happens. I'm over it, It's a learning opportunity. So to you and everybody else, peace. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you next time.